Hey, what's good? It's CADILLAKTRACKZ. I'm back again. Just making another video. I actually recorded this one and the audio didn't record, so I'm gonna do it all over. But just wanted to go over the best workflow with the machine and with the Mk3. So as you can see, or as you should be able to see here, I'm gonna go ahead and open it up, and you can see my machine right here. All right. This is the beat that I just made, so I'm gonna go ahead and start from the beginning and just kind of show you how we get started. So let me go ahead and close this and open this. And the first thing that I was going to say is that when we start up a beat, a lot of times we like to load up our templates or load up a project and where it's got all our mixers set up and everything. And when we do it like that, it takes longer to load the project. Sometimes it can have more CPU. And so the best thing to do a lot of times is just open up Fruity Loops right on a blank track, just like a regular empty track, and then just go ahead and start adding sounds in. That's what I did. So the first thing that we do usually is go ahead and load up Maschine. So we can just open up Fruity Loops, go to new beat, new basic beat, and you can just open up Maschine. Anytime Maschine opens up, it's going to open up the template. You need to save yourself a template. If you have my template, it's just like this, where it's been linked to the mixer in Fruity Loops. But the first thing that I went ahead on this beat and did is I went ahead, opened it up, and I made a new drum kit. So I knew that I was going to need some drums for the beat, so I just went ahead and just opened up some recent files and went through some sounds I had. I'm going to go ahead and show you this one. I had a little kick. I added a snare. I added another clap. I added another snare, hi-hat, another hi-hat. I added 3 hi-hats, and an open hi-hat. You can see that when I do it and when I lay it out, I like to have my kicks on the bottom. And then on the second row, I like to have my snares. And then on the third row, 9 through 12, I like my hi-hats. And it's because you can do it like this. If you had one hand, you could do it like this. So it's real easy, and it's like a little technique someone showed a long time ago. Good finger drummers, they can like kind of split it in half like this, and they can get real fast. All right, so that's why I set it up like that. And once we set it up and we load all our sounds in, I showed you that I click on the top sound right here, and then I click on the bottom sound with the mouse, go to shift. And you're going to go to each one of these sounds right here. Click on the sound right here. And you want to change the polyphony. Now that they're all highlighted, change the polyphony to 1 so that each sound only plays one time. It doesn't overlap. Go to the pitch and we can change that to ADSR. And when I do the ADSR, let me show you something. Sounds like that, like the crash. They have a longer release, so we turn the release up. You can use the knob or you can use this right here. Sounds like this. It has a longer tail also, so I turn the release up on that. This sound had a longer decay, so I turn the release up on that. So any sound that has a long decay, I'll turn the release up on. Everything else is nice and tight with the attack, decay, sustain. Once we got it like this and we've already changed the colors, remember you can change the colors by when you select them. Just right click and go to color. Once we've done that, we can go ahead and save the drum kit. Just go up here and go to save with samples. It's going to ask you where you want to save it. And I went ahead and I did that. I saved it as Lax Kit 33. Alright, so now that we got a drum kit for the beat, a lot of times what I'll do is I'll just go ahead and I'll load up instruments right into Fruity Loops. And we'll just start to play. If you have my template, you can use my template to play like a piano. It has all the scales mapped out. And you can just load up different instruments. On this one I had a hive and I loaded up this sound. It's kind of hard to hear. I'll turn the octave up. And so once I found that sound, I went ahead, I opened up Nexus. I ended up putting a piano. I wanted some chords. There's my piano. And then I opened up a Dune. And so with just these 3 plugins, it already ate up a lot of CPU, and that's just another reason why you should always start a new project and then start loading up plugins and effects just to try to make a sample. So what I did is I used the layer function. It's going to layer these 3 sounds together, and then I made a simple pattern, real simple little piano pattern right there. It's only a few notes, and we just went ahead and recorded it. come here, show you how it sounds. All right, so once I had that sound right there, basically all you're gonna do is you're gonna come over here to the playlist. You can see my pattern right here where it was muted out. Once you have a pattern, just like I did, all you have to do is right click and go to consolidate tracks, and it's gonna consolidate them into an audio wave, and that's what we have here. And that's where my track 4 is. So it's those 3 sounds put together, but it's more than that. So I'm just gonna look into it real quick. If you go into the sounds, what I did on these sounds is I added a lot of effects. Like I put a sound goodizer on that piano, and I put some EQ on it. On the other sound, I put a rotary. I did slow motion on it, and I also put some EQ. And then on the other one, I just put some EQ, and I kind of turned them down a little bit. And so they just make one sound, one sample. And that's what you want to do. You want to kind of start by making some type of melody or sample. This is a good way to start because it just lets you open up Fruity Loops and dig right in. This sample could be loaded in the machine. So now that I have this sample right here, I basically went ahead and saved this project. And I went ahead and I opened up a new project with my template this time. This way it has the full template and it's laid out so that we can make the beat. And I don't think I changed anything right there. So I'm gonna go ahead and load up the project, and when I loaded it up it was empty, but I'm finished now. So this is what my template looks like. Remember, it's got all the different pads assigned right here and also linked to the mixer. First thing we did is we went ahead, we brought in our little sample, and you can hear it right here. We brought it in. I ended up putting a love filter on it, and I wanted it to have a little filter to where it comes in like that. So I put a love filter on it. And I also went ahead and I turned it up. I went ahead and pitched it up 2 semitones. After that, I added another piano. You can see it right here. Piano came straight from Nexus. And we'll just start our beat right here. Y'all can kind of hear it. Well, I guess it doesn't have all the sounds. So you can hear I just added a few piano notes. We also added a synth that came from, I believe, Diva, a preset called Fuck Me. And when I added them, I just had them all on one pattern. Now they're separated, but that's how I make the beat, just all in one pattern, and then we separate them later. So we kind of have these sounds all kind of going together. We also added another sound, which was a guitar. I figured I put some guitar on this beat, so I just kind of made a pattern that my guitars can follow along and add to, just some basic notes. You can kind of hear it right here. It's actually going to be during the chorus, so it drops right here in the beginning. And, let me make sure it's on. You can see the notes right here, some simple notes. And then we also added a little sub bass for the intro. And I'll turn it on right here, and you can kind of see it, the sub bass right here. And you can see the love filter. You can hear it. So it just starts with our pattern, which is being filtered in our bass. After that, I just went ahead and added some drums. We also added an 808. I'm gonna turn it off for a second. And that was about it, man. So we basically just made that little melody. We added just a few sounds, and then we went to our drums, and I was finger drumming on the machine when I did the drum. But I went ahead and ended up drawing them inside of Fruity Loops. So remember, with the the drums, we can draw them inside of Fruity Loops. Right now they're split by each channel. Or I could have went ahead and I could have just finger drummed in Maschine. Or I could have finger drummed them in Maschine and had it drop the notes onto Fruity Loops. I've showed you how to do that with my template. Or I could have just recorded a few notes inside of Fruity Loops, and then I could have came on my Maschine, for example, and I could have hit note repeat and drop some snare rolls or different functions that the Maschine does easily that I might have had trouble doing on Fruity Loops, or vice versa. Either way, whatever way helps you to get the drums. A lot of times you can just push record, because remember with my template we can control Fruity Loops. Could have just pushed record and I could have recorded it right here onto my screen, right here onto my Mk3. All my little notes would have been right here in Maschine. Sometimes I'll just do a few different sounds inside a Maschine, and a few I'll just go ahead and draw them out. So either way. So we'll laid some drums. I put an 808 on there. This right here. So for this one, like I said, it was all on one pattern. We just went ahead and split by channel. That's why we have all the different tracks here, and we just went ahead and laid them out. You can see that with my audio, I like to kind of bring them, like have them stack on top of each other. That way it plays the little tails on each different track instead of cutting the tail off and restarting. That's about it, man. On this one, I might also go to my guitar right here. And what I'll do is I'll go to piano roll and I'll save those notes as MIDI notes, and I'll put them inside of the track out so that whoever does do the guitar, they at least see what notes I was playing. But most guitarists will just play that by ear, and also a lot better. And so that's about it, man. So we went ahead and put all those little pieces together. So this is the workflow with the template. And just a few other things. With the drums, remember with the drums, we're going to mix the drums from Maschine. See right there, usually I would just push mixer and then I would just use the knob and use my fingers right here. And you can see where since they're all MIDI channels and these are just being triggered by MIDI, that's all it's doing is triggering the pad. We can't turn the volume up or down on MIDI, so we do it right here in the mixer. Or I could have did it in the mixer inside of Fruity Loops, because remember all these drum sounds are linked right into Fruity Loops. Alright, man, I'm gonna go ahead and end the video there. I know that y'all love the video short, so this is basically the workflow. What we did is we started with a melody, and we started in a whole different project. We just opened up Fruity Loops, loaded up some instruments, you know, linked them all together, added some effects, and just made a weird sound, which was this. From there, we just went ahead and loaded up a new pattern. And before we even did that, we had made ourselves a drum kit. And worked pretty good for this beat. And after that, we loaded up a few more sounds, 4 more different instruments. So in total, this would have had almost like 8-9 different instruments. The CPU load would have been stupid. But since we consolidated it and we just made a melody first and then started adding on, we started from a better reference point and we were able to jump in quickly. From there, we just went ahead and sequenced it out. Remember, your drums can be on Maschine or Fruity Loops. So that's about it. I'm going to go ahead and end this one. If you want to see my template in action, or you want to know what the template does, remember, I have a template where I can control Fruity Loops with Maschine. So we can do stuff like, look at this. I can open up the rack by pushing a button, I can open up the playlist, the piano roll, the mixer. I have an extra menus button, a maximize button to make windows big. I have an exit window to make them small. I can change the tempo. I can do an undo. I can jog through samples with my knob. I can save a project right here. I can change from pattern to song mode. I can do stop, record, play. I can undo notes. I can record, and I can use my pads like a piano. They're already synchronized in MIDI scale, minor scale from A to G. I also have another, on top of that, we have 20 different pages full of presets. We have a page for gross beats presets. We have a page for every different scale and different keys. We have Dorian and all type of different scales. So my template is the shit. That's the bottom line. So check it out, man. Until next time. 1.